Okay, so we're back on it. It's Friday, February 10th. And I have everything cleaned off and we're de-RTV'd and ready to go back together. I guess it's Friday because I figured out I think, I'm not so sure about it anymore. I was fairly certain earlier that the leak was coming from a bad O-ring. After I talked about the missed seal, which may or may not actually be true. It could be because I think I was getting a leak from two places. Anyway, I'm not totally sure anymore though. No, I don't even know which one's which. Shoot. Well, I need to figure that out. But down here, this one, there was a lot of, it looked like older seepage coming down right in through here. And so I was pretty confident that that's what was leaking. That is the O-ring that the dealership forgot to give me. And so I was pretty sure that the one that I put on wasn't correct. And so it was leaking. So I went to the dealership today. The reason it's taken a couple of days is because I didn't have a car, and then the dealership closed before I could get out there after my wife got home with the other car. Shoot. I need to figure out which one of these is which. So I pulled them out. This one's not it, but it's one of these two. This one looks a little oilier than this one. They're slightly different, you can tell. One of them's thicker. And so I shouldn't have taken it out of the bag. I might be able to line it up and be for sure which one it is. I think it's this one, because I put it with that one. So I think this is the Subaru part, and this one is the other part. I don't know where it goes, but it came in the lower gasket set, and it might be too big, and so that's why it was leaking. It's just because it couldn't seal properly, because this one's thinner. Anyway, I need to check on that. But I think that was the real issue I was having. I also, if you saw down in there, there is some more RTV down along that seal where the kind of the oil, the lower gasket seals to the engine block. And so that is the lower gasket, and that's why they call it a lower gasket set. Because it's for the stuff. It's like it's a lower part of the engine. Because it's not a true oil pan, like this whole thing comes off, and so that's the lower gasket. I don't know what this would be for. It might be for like an oil pickup or something like that. But that's why the lower gasket set didn't have all 8 of the little O-rings, is because that wasn't for it. So the way you can get those O-rings is by buying a complete engine gasket set, like a rebuild set, but I feel like that's kind of overkill, just because you're not gonna, unless you're really gonna split the case, there's no reason to buy the whole gasket set. But it might be cheaper in the long run to do that instead of buying a head gasket set and all the O-rings from the dealership. You could get, because Felpro sells a full gasket set, and that would include all of the O-rings you'd need. So somebody look that up, tell me how much it is, and then look up just the head gasket set and add $60 to that. Because that's how much it costs to buy them separate. So anyway, something to think about. You'd have a bunch of leftover gaskets and stuff, but if it's cheaper, hey, it's cheaper, and Felpro's good quality. So that's if it was cheaper, I'd be willing to buy a whole gasket set, a full engine gasket set. Anyway, I have everything laid out. I just barely finished up cleaning this off. There's a couple of spots that still have some RTV on it. I'm surprised with how difficult new RTV is to get off, because it's so soft. It doesn't just kind of, I don't know. It's harder anyway. So I went and got Scotch-Brite pads. These green pads, like sponge pads, scouring pads. And I was doing that. I did that inside, under the sink, after I'd done everything I could with my razor blades. You can see all the big chunkies of RTV that I shoved up in there. Anyway, tons of RTV wasted, but small price to pay for a non-leaky engine. So getting it back together today. Tomorrow I'll be able to put oil back in it and start it up, and hopefully I won't have more drippy issues. If I do, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Take it apart again, I guess, is what I'm gonna do. But I'm hoping I'm getting it right. Anyway, I think that O-ring down there, that was the issue I was having. So here you can see the difference. Hopefully this one's way skinnier than this one. This one's a big thick one. So I need to compare these two to the one that I pulled out, and I think the one I pulled out was skinnier like this. And just that I put this over here with this other good one, I'm pretty sure that was me thinking it was a good one. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. But, yeah. That's it for today. I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow. Hopefully we won't have any leaks. The mystery's been solved. I found the real issue that was making it drip. It's kind of a big pain, but I found it. It's right here, number 6. You can just keep twisting and twisting and twisting, and it doesn't ever tighten. The real bummer, at first I thought it was just the bolt. And so I said, oh, well, I ordered extras. Jeez. I ordered extras of the front timing cover bolts, so I should have one that fits. Or it's just one bolt, so I could run to the hardware store really quick. So I tried it with another bolt, and it does the same thing. So it's not the bolt, and the bolt looks fine. It is actually something on the block, because that's one of the ones that threads all the way through and actually tightens against the block. And so if it could never get tight, or if it broke free or something, then obviously it wasn't holding that torque and keeping that seal. And so it's straight on the oil pump, and so obviously, yeah, it had given way and is dripping down slowly, down, back behind, and down out the bottom. So that's fun. It means I have to pull off the rear cover again and put in a threaded insert. So I gotta drill the hole out bigger and screw in a threaded insert so that I can put put that bolt back in and torque it correctly and be able to tighten up the rear cover so I don't get any more leaks. So I've already actually pulled off, as soon as I figured it out, I actually pulled off the rear cover. I was back out here an hour after putting the bead of RTV around it, and I was here torquing it, and luckily I was torquing the oil pump first. And so I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I got to 6, and it didn't do anything. So I immediately stopped, pulled it out, tried a new bolt, pulled that out because it didn't do anything, and pulled the whole front cover off. Luckily the RTV hadn't dried, and so I was able to just wipe it all off while it was still kind of wet. And then as it got really thin, it dried really fast, and so I was able to just kind of using a shop rag just wipe it off. And so the rear cover and the block are all clean of RTV again, and I just threw this back on because I couldn't remember where the bolt was at. And so now I know that it's this one. It's number 6. I was thinking it was number 1, but it couldn't be number 1 because number 1 is one of the flush-mounted. Number 1 is one of the flush-mounted bolts or screw things. And so, yeah, it's number 6 that's having the issue. And so I need to maybe run over to Ace Hardware. I think it's the closest hardware store around here. So I need to run over there and buy a threaded insert and the correct size bit. It'd be nice if I could use a stubby. I'm gonna have to take out my air conditioning condenser again, but that's okay. As I was torquing those, I immediately realized that, this is the real problem. That thicker O-ring might have caused it to break free. I'm not totally sure on that. But I mean, it was a different O-ring that I put on than what's required, so kind of crappy that I had to do it, but good. No, it's not good. If that other O-ring would have worked, it would have been fine. But either when it heated up and it kind of expanded, it was torqued too much and just broke through, or it was just weak already. I don't know, but there is failure, and so I have to deal with it. And really, I'm not that. I mean, it's a bummer, but I'm not that cut up about it because it's just another thing that I get to do. Once this car is done, I don't have anything else to do car-wise, and so I'm happy to keep going. Anyway, that for real will be it for today. Anyway, I'm gonna pull this off and figure out what I need to do. Kind of exciting.